officially 4 o'clock. Hopefully some other people will join us, but welcome to our weekly Northern Nevada Disaster Cycle Services Volunteer Opportunities and Updates meeting. I'm Bear Lewis, the Disaster Program Manager here in Northern Nevada, and I am recording the meeting, so we're going to get right into it. We have a lot of things upcoming this month and next month. I'm going to cover the things that we have coming up this week and maybe highlight some things that we have coming up in the future beyond this week, but I'm not going to go into detail on each one because it would take forever. So tomorrow at 1 p.m., we have our Pershing County LEPC meeting, which is Local Emergency Planning Committee meeting. It's going to include a tabletop exercise for mass care and sheltering. So it's one that's going to be fun to attend for anyone who would like to make the drive out to Lovelock. Great for those interested in government operations, in planning mass care with our government agencies, or just curious what a LEPC meeting is like or what a tabletop exercise is like when we're going over those things. Also on Wednesday, tomorrow, we have our Utah, Nevada, so our regional orientation for new volunteers. I don't think we have any brand new volunteers on the meeting, but if you happen to watch this video, you can register via the link that is part of the agenda. It's also a good refresher for anyone who's been around for a while, but maybe hasn't ever taken an orientation for new volunteers. Talks about different things in the Utah, Nevada region, as opposed to what we talk about at this meeting, which is pretty chapter specific. Any questions about either of those two opportunities tomorrow? Okay. And please, you guys, let me know if the background noise gets to be too much. Is it okay right now?
Yeah, it's really, you can't really hear it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I love to hear that. I tried to sit in an ideally located spot, but I can hear it, so it makes me feel worried about it. On Thursday at 10 a.m., we have our weekly Northern Nevada All Lines of Service team meeting that's hosted by our executive director, Tiandra. It's in person at the Reno chapter office. I'm going to try and be there in person as often as possible. Every once in a while, there are conflicts, but it is my goal to be there in person on Thursdays as much as possible, as well as others from other lines of service to talk about what's happening in our Reno chapter office or in our Northern Nevada chapter. Also, on that day, later in the afternoon, Al Wagner, who is a community volunteer lead, and myself are going to be meeting with the interim CEO of Oasis Academy in Fallon, which is one of our current Jew communities, to talk about our youth preparedness presentations that they may want us to do out there. So if you are interested in joining us, please carpool with me out there. You can see what the conversations look like when we're talking about what Red Cross does in our schools and what presentations we have available for our youth. Any questions about either of those opportunities on Thursday? Okay. On Friday, we have the Washoe County IHCC meeting. It's a monthly meeting that occurs in person at 1001 East 9th Street, Building B in the conference room. Reach out to me or Randy Honeywell if you're interested in attending. I think Randy is out of town until Friday, so she may not be attending this one, but I will be attending. So reach out to me if you're interested in attending, want to know what this is about. Jen has attended in the past as well. Basically, it's where all of our health professionals come together and we talk about emergency planning, part of a committee. Elaine Hudson is also part of that team. So reach out to any of us if you're interested in attending, seeing what it's all about. Any questions about IHCC before we move on? Okay, on Saturday, we were supposed to have a micro sound the alarm event in Fallon, but it's being postponed because we don't have any signups. No one has called us to request smoke detector installations, and so we're not going to be going out there this Saturday. We're hoping, due to some canvassing efforts that we did, and we are still planning on doing by hanging door hangers out there on doors, that we'll get more requests. If we get enough requests to schedule a date, then we'll actually schedule more presenters and educators, or I mean installers and educators, to go out on that day, and we'll actually do door knocking like a more traditional sound the alarm event. But this Saturday, it's not going to work out. Any questions about that postponement or what we try and do at sound the alarm events or micro sound the alarm events? Okay. This has actually also been postponed, I just found out. So we are not doing this until June at Toscana Village, which is a homeowners association here in the Reno area. On Monday, we're going to be doing wildfire preparedness education walkarounds at Jim Rich's house to do on the ground training. So anybody who has taken the wildfire preparedness education walkaround training and wants to try it and see how it looks in person, as opposed to just taking the training before you're thrown out there to do the educating yourself, this is an opportunity to go to one of our volunteers' house, have a safe space, practice your presenting, ask any questions you might have. Reach out to Sherry Reisinger. I think it's scheduled for 1 o'clock, but we still need to confirm that. So I will make sure it's confirmed and part of the agenda before I send this out to you tomorrow. But that will be happening on the 15th, on Monday, as well as our disaster action team meeting. So Jim Rich has a busy day that day, showing off his outdoor space and letting us talk about all of the wildfire preparedness he could do. And then also he'll be hosting the Northern Nevada Disaster Action Team meeting that night. So please attend virtually or in person at the Reno chapter office if you can. Jim will send out a link with the reminder probably today or tomorrow if he hasn't already done it. So be on the lookout for that so you can attend. And then next week, we have this all volunteers, opportunities and updates meeting again. It is going to be virtual only since we're in person this week at Longboards Beach Fired Pizza. So far, it's just me, but I'm hoping more people come and join me for pizza at 5 o'clock. We chose this establishment because it's a locally owned establishment and it's in one of our Duke community areas, which is Golden Valley. So we hope to see you next week virtually online. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jen, for attending this week. And thank you all for watching if you're watching the video of this meeting later. Some other save the dates, some events that we have upcoming further out into the future. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them. Review the agenda as you get an opportunity. But one I think that's worth mentioning, one of the couple I'm going to mention, is this coordinated special events management. Your problem is my problem and my problem is yours. It's a presentation from the emergency management team who handle the special events management like South by Southwest in the city of Austin. So they have a lot of experience, especially preparing for things where there might be potential shootings or other type of activities where there's large groups of people and emergencies happen and we need to help plan for those. So that could be a very cool opportunity. If you're interested, it is by invitation only, so we need to reach out to Washoe County and let them know you'd like to attend. It's in person at the RIA, which is at 5195 Spectrum Boulevard. So let me know or let Jim Rich know if you're interested in participating. Also on that day, we're going to be out in our Duke community in Fallon doing Be Red Cross Ready and hands-only CPR training to the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe. We have all of the support we needed, but if you would like to attend, take photos, see what we do, see what those presentations look like, please let me know. We'd be happy to have you join us. We're going to be carpooling from the Reno office and back, so you don't even have to drive. Let me know if you'd like to go with us. And free spaghetti dinner. There's a spaghetti feed that night. It is at their senior center, and they have really good food. So we'd love to see you there. Any questions about either of those opportunities on the 17th that are coming up? Okay. I'm going to browse through here really quick. April 21st through 27th is Volunteer Appreciation Week. So be on the lookout for something headed your way, some little form of appreciation. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet, but there should be a surprise for you sometime that week, arriving in your mailbox or available for you to pick up at the office or nearby location. So stay tuned for potential goodies coming your way that week. Also, on the 24th, we have pillowcase presentations in Fallon, one of our Duke communities. To second and third graders, we'll be doing the pillowcase project. Again, we have all of the presenters and support we need, but if you would like to attend, see what it looks like, we'd love to have you. Betsy and Gail are going to be presenting, and they're so wonderful and entertaining to watch. I learn something new every time I watch them present it. So it never gets old, and we can always use more people taking photos or just being there to support the crew. So let me know if you are interested. Also on the 24th, we will be doing our wildfire preparedness education outreach in North Valleys, one of our Duke communities. And we'll be doing some door hanging to canvas for that event a little bit before then. Or actually, no, sorry. The 24th is the day we're doing the door hanging. We're actually going to be doing the outreach on the 4th of May. So we're going to be doing the outreach in North Valleys on the 24th by hanging door hangers, hopefully having people call us to sign up for a walk around of their property, focusing on what they can do in that 0 to 5 foot area between their house and 5 feet out to help make their home a little bit more and their property a little bit more hardy and prepared should a wildfire approach from a wildland nearby. So if you're interested in that, either on the 24th or on the 4th, please let me know. The other thing I would like you guys to put on your calendar and save the date for is on the 18th of May at 3 p.m. We're having our Northern Nevada Volunteer Recognition event. It's usually at a restaurant here in Reno. I haven't heard the specific details, but please mark your calendar. We would love for everyone to attend. It's for all volunteers in Northern Nevada. And it's a time when we give out awards to people. We hear from our leadership team how much they appreciate what you all do here in Northern Nevada as volunteers. So please mark your calendar for that. Those are all the things I'm going to talk about today as far as upcoming events. But again, look at the agenda, mark your calendars, anything else that looks interesting to you that you would like to attend. We'd love to have you there. And if you have any questions about any of them, let me know. Before I move forward into our important information, does anyone have any questions about our upcoming events? Okay. Digging right into our important information. Thank you to all of those who signed up for our shelter strike team. For those of you who don't know what our shelter strike teams are, they're a group of individuals who sign up to be responsible to be the first ones called should a shelter need to be opened in Northern Nevada. So we had a great response. Thank you, Bruce, Rebecca, Susie, Tim, Brigitte, Randy, Randa, Alex, Matt, Jen, and Dirk, who all signed up to cover April. Really appreciate it. And let me know if you guys have any questions about what it means to be on the shelter strike team, any training you may want to take to get yourself more prepared for that role, anything at all. Any questions right now I can answer. I don't know how many of you are on our feeding teams, but an email went out from Rocky, who is a volunteer in our Las Vegas area, but she is our regional, so all of Utah, Nevada feeding lead. And so she is requesting that our feeding teams in all of our chapters build at least 3 feeding kits. We have a really good head start here in Northern Nevada because we already have some feeding kits. But I don't know if they're exactly the same as what they're hoping that they are. So our feeding team should be connecting with Rocky and finding out how can we make these uniform and ready to rock and roll so that if we need to open a shelter or if we need to do some mobile feeding, we're ready to go right now and anybody from the region can know what to expect in those different feeding pits. So if you're part of that feeding team and you receive that email from Rocky and you have any questions about it, please reach out to me or reach out to Rocky so we can get started on that project. Any questions now while you have me on? Okay. Well, April has been a pretty slow month, knock on wood, for DAT responses. We've only had one this month in Lyon County. We opened one case and supported two people with $650. Thank you, Lou Schwartz and Mike Algier, for going out on that call because Silver Springs is not close for any of our volunteers right now. We're hoping to get some volunteers out in that area, but right now it's about a 30-minute drive for most. So thank you guys for going on that one. And it was in the middle of the night. So it was a late night call far away. I don't have a home fire campaign update since last week. This is all information, but we do always want to get the word out that anyone who would like our home fire campaign team to come to their home and provide some education about planning for disasters, planning for home fires, and getting their smoke detectors checked or replaced can call this phone number. And that includes the bed shaker or stroke alarm, smoke alarms for those who may have hearing challenges. So thank you guys. That's all I have really for updates of new things. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that happened since our last meeting. But before I go on, anything I've forgotten to talk about, please let me know. Or if you guys have any questions about anything we've covered so far, let me know. Okay. Well, this past week was really busy. It started with the Washoe County Emergency Managers Breakfast on Wednesday that Jim Rich attended with all of the emergency managers from within Washoe County. So Sparks, Reno, any other incorporated areas, anybody who's part of the emergency management team for Washoe County usually attends. And then we usually see some neighboring emergency managers attend. So sometimes we see Carson City Emergency Management there. We usually see someone from Fallon from the Naval Air Station there. It's a great opportunity to network and just talk about different things that are happening with the different agencies and how we can work together and especially when they're community events, what can we all participate in and make them that much stronger and that much better for the community. So if you're ever interested in attending, they are now the first Wednesday of every month at 8:30 to 9:30 at Denny's. And you can reach out to Jim Rich or me if you'd like more information. On Thursday, we had our weekly Northern Nevada All Lines of Service team meeting. We talk about all of these different upcoming events that we do in disaster cycle services. And then all the other lines of service talks about the different things that are going on in the chapter for their line of service. So if you're ever interested in attending, I really encourage you to do so because you find out a lot of information about other things that are going on, not just what I talk about at this meeting or what we have going on in disaster cycle services. You also find out what our board members are up to and what type of support they're looking for. And it's an opportunity for us to ask for support from our board. We attended the Pershing County Continuity of Operations Planning webinar last week. And it's really more intended for government agency employers or employees, I should say, who are going to be reassigned during a disaster, or if there's an interruption in their normal operations, what their plan to continue those operations are. Should they be impacted by communications problems, by a disaster, or anything at all? We didn't really have too much to contribute other than listening and having an understanding of who we might go to during one of those situations should a disaster be occurring and we need to reach out for county support. On Saturday, we had a UNR iServe event, and that's basically when UNR hosts an event that they try and get as many students to sign up for to volunteer for whatever the time period is. So we had about 25 students join us. They attended a Be Red Cross Ready presentation. They put labels on thousands of door hangers that included our home fire campaign phone number. And then they went out into the neighborhoods that were around the UNR campus within walking distance and hung door hangers, encouraging people to call in and request smoke detector installations and inspections. So really cool event. I would love to see it happen at other universities or colleges. I don't know if Great Basin Community College has a similar program, Sarah, but it might be something we want to look into, especially if we get to have Spring Creek as one of our two communities, because it was a great way to engage students, and hopefully we'll get a couple new volunteers out of it. So really fun event. Any questions about that?
No, I'm not sure if they do, but I'll have to look into that.
Okay. And I'll work with the folks that I know from Great Basin Community College as well. I know they've talked about different other volunteer opportunities, but I don't know if they have a specific program or how it works. So you research it, I'll research it, and we'll come together and see if we can't get something going. It would be awesome.
Sounds good.
On actually yesterday, I'm losing track of days. We had our new disaster action team intermediate class. It was offered as a hybrid class, which means it was in person at each of the offices, but the instructor was actually teaching it from one location virtually to those locations. Some of the feedback we received is that it was really confusing having it in that format. So going forward, we're probably only going to do in person or virtual as opposed to hybrid. And the reason for that, I guess there was a lot of side conversations going on at the different locations that not everyone could hear. So if you guys are on the disaster action team and you're interested in taking a new disaster action team class, or you want to promote to supervisor, please look for it on Edge and look for the next opportunity that we're going to be hosting it in person, either at the Reno office or another location. Today, earlier this morning, Jim Rich, he drove all the way to Hawthorne, Nevada, and attended the Mineral County Local Emergency Planning Committee meeting and learned about what they are doing for their planning efforts and contributed anything Red Cross related that we might be able to support in their planning efforts for mass care. Also, we had wildfire preparedness education training this morning. Talked a little bit about the wildfire preparedness education already. And then we also, just before this meeting, there was a regional disaster disability integration work group meeting. That's for any volunteers who are part of our disability integration team. And Fran Feldman leads it. And honestly, I haven't been able to attend one of her meetings because of schedule conflict, so I can't talk too much about it. But I'd love to have her on one of our meetings in the future just to talk about disability integration, what it is all about, why we do it, and to try and encourage more people who may be wanting to support those with disabilities on our team. We also had, just before this meeting, our last weekly preparedness work group meeting. I say last because we're actually forming a new work group. It's going to be called the Community Outreach Work Group, and they're going to meet weekly on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Not this Thursday, but the first kickoff meeting is going to be next Thursday. And it's going to be similar to our preparedness work group meeting in the way that we're going to be talking about upcoming community events, whether it's us presenting at schools or it's a community event like a parade or an Easter egg hunt or something like that, or something that's more service to armed forces related. But it's an opportunity for us all to come together, be at the same table, and talk about how we can work together to serve our communities. So sad to see our preparedness work group meeting go away, but very excited for it to be replaced by this community outreach work group that I think is going to be a lot more effective, and we're going to be able to get out into our communities and be more cohesive with one another and support one another between the different lines of service. Any questions about things that happened since our last meeting or that upcoming change with the community outreach work group? Okay. We're now to the time of the meeting where I talk about the different team members that are needed for different projects. We recently had Dave Kidwell, our fleet manager, who has also been supporting any IRV needs, give notice. He has to move on to other opportunities. So he's going to be working with us through the end of April. But we need somebody from our disaster cycle services team to be our IRV chapter lead. Our IRV is our emergency response vehicle. And the lead basically works with our region and the national IRV teams to make sure our IRV is ready to roll and go on any deployment. It can really be taken by the nation or region at any time. There's a disaster response that requires it. So part of that is making sure it's ready, has all the supplies and everything it needs inside it so that it can deploy for one of those events. Also, the person coordinates any drivers that need to put miles on it. So every 2 weeks it needs to be driven. I think it's 50 miles. And that's just to keep its engine running healthy and keep it maintained. It's also to help coordinate maintenance when needed and to work with the national team on any of the licensing. So the tabs when they come due, getting those stickers and adding them to the truck. And then also coordinating training for any volunteers who want to train to drive the IRV. Not giving the training, that takes other requirements, but just working with our trainer and the volunteers who may want to become IRV drivers. If that sounds like a position that's interesting to you, please let me know because we will be needing someone to fill that role beginning of May. Any questions about that role before I move forward? Okay. Not too many deployment opportunities, even though the outlook for hurricane season is very grim. So starting June, we expect there to be a lot of deployment opportunities. Right now, we just have the disaster mental health opportunities for supervisor and for service associates in Maui. So if you are on our disaster mental health team and you would like to deploy to Maui again or for the first time, positions are available for you. So reach out and let me know and we'll get you on your way to support. We're getting through this meeting in record time, you guys. So this is where I just remind you all, please record your hours. Anything you do Red Cross related counts as hours worked. Attending this meeting, having a phone call, having a conversation with somebody in the community about Red Cross. It all counts. So please be sure to record your hours so we get credit for those. And then also update your availability if you would like to deploy to support a disaster relief operation when one comes available. I have not seen the presentation myself, but I have heard from many people that the hurricane season this year is predicted to be worse than it was in 2017 by 20%. And 2017 was a significantly terrible year for hurricanes. I think that was the year Hurricane Michael hit. But there were a lot of hurricanes and a lot that required disaster relief operation support. So if you're interested in deploying, please keep your availability up to date. So you're one of the first persons that is called if that position that you can fill is needed on that disaster relief operation. Any questions about your hours or availability? Okay. Well, our next upcoming in-person meeting besides today is going to be next month on May 14th at our Winnemucca office. So I'm hoping you can join us there. And if not, we'll see you online next week and at that meeting. Any closing comments or roundtable items before we close out the meeting for the day? All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jen, for attending in person. I really appreciate you guys being here. So I'm not talking to myself. And thank you all for watching the video of the recording of this meeting later. Reach out to me anytime with questions about other volunteer opportunities you might want to pursue, concerns that you might have, or opportunities for us to engage in your community in Northern Nevada. Thanks, you guys. Have a terrific Tuesday night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.